Israel Defense Forces say the fragile ceasefire between Israel and Hamas is still in place today after it was under serious threat over the weekend. The IDF launched strikes over Gaza after a deadly attack on Israeli soldiers, blaming Hamas. Hamas has rejected that claim. CBS News senior foreign correspondent Debora Patta brings us the latest from East Jerusalem.
The skies over Gaza are quiet this morning after the ceasefire faced its gravest test yet, with Hamas and Israel accusing each other of violations. Both sides have now recommitted to the peace process, but over the weekend, war was back in Gaza. 45 Palestinians were killed, said local health officials, and 2 soldiers, say the IDF, as mediators race to get the ceasefire back on track. President Trump has insisted it was still in place and it would be handled toughly but properly, adding he didn't believe Hamas leadership was involved, but rather rebel groups. For Palestinian families that had come out to enjoy a quiet moment at a seaside cafe, their peace was shattered by an Israeli strike there, and the blood-soaked scenes they thought were a thing of the past had returned. Hospitals filled up once again with nearly 100 injured from multiple Israeli strikes. The IDF said they were thwarting ceasefire violations by Hamas and provided this footage they say shows armed Hamas fighters moving towards Israeli troops. But in central Gaza, it was a media center that was bombed, killing a cameraman and an engineer and injuring 3 others. More than 220 media workers have been killed in Gaza, according to Reporters Without Borders, over the past 2 years. And over the weekend, an Israeli security official had said aid would be halted, but today we're hearing that will not be the case, and I imagine that will be a key issue as top U.S. negotiators try to keep the peace process on track. Debora Patta, CBS News, East Jerusalem.
For more on this, Mona Yacoubian joins us now. She is Director and Senior Advisor of the Middle East Program at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, also known as CSIS. Thank you so much for being here. Given the hostilities still remain on both sides, what does a successful implementation of the next phase look like?
Well, first, we do have to make sure that the ceasefire remains sustained, and that is going to be quite a bit of work. But then the really hard work comes ahead. The next phase, by definition, is going to have to feature some definition of how Hamas is going to be disarmed. And then there are going to have to be security arrangements put in place on the ground, as well as some sort of governance structure that will include Palestinian technocrats.
And Vice President Vance is set to arrive in Israel Tuesday. Prime Minister Netanyahu told the Israeli parliament discussions with the vice president will focus on 2 things: the security challenges they face and diplomatic opportunities. What type of role do you see the vice president playing in this?
I think his role is largely symbolic. I think that he really symbolizes the president's high-level commitment to this deal. You have Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner on the ground. They're deeply familiar with the details, but sending the vice president to Israel really signals that the administration is taking this very seriously and looks to remain committed to this peace agreement.
Mona Yacoubian, thank you so much.